All right, welcome folks. It is good to see all of you again. It is our annual back to school night for our third, fourth, and fifth graders. If you joined us last night, I've got kind of bad news for you. It is a lot of a repeat. So if you joined us last night, you'll hear the same thing again. A few updates that we have on school reopenings. We are recording. We do have you guys on mute. Unlike our normal coffee with the principals, we do have the chat feature turned off because you guys have places to go at 5:25. So the way we are set up tonight is Mrs. Lee and I will give you a little overview of our school, where we're at as far as school reopening, what we're doing with our virtual learning, ways you can stay connected and involved. But most importantly tonight is getting you back connected with your classroom teachers and making sure that you understand what you need to do for this year and what your teachers are going to be doing for your kids. So I am going to share my screen with you right now. And we're going to talk a little bit here. For those of you who I have not met, welcome to San Pasqual Union School. My name is Mark Burrows. I'm the superintendent and principal of our amazing one school district. Joining me for tonight's presentation is Mrs. Lee, our assistant principal here at San Pasqual Union, and we'll be taking you through the next 25 minutes or so. When we talked to our younger folks last year, we talked about why people choose San Pasqual Union. And if you have been here for a while, you probably know a lot of those things, but we'll go into why people choose it generally and why they're choosing it now that we're in distance learning and transitioning back to on-campus learning. So I have some exciting news to share with you on that. We're tired of hearing the new normal, but we are in it for now, and we're going to talk to you about how that affects our teaching and our learning in this virtual learning environment. We're going to go into how to stay connected with us and your classroom teachers. And even though we're shut down, how to get involved and stay involved. And like I said, most importantly, how to connect with your classroom teachers. So we will finish this up at about 5:25 or no later so that you can do that. So we talk about why people choose San Pasqual Union. For those of you who have been around, you realize that we just celebrated our 100-year anniversary as a school, 100-year birthday this past summer. We started out as a 2-room schoolhouse in the San Pasqual Valley and moved to our beautiful campus here about 20 years ago. And we've really embraced the idea of honoring your past and embracing your future. And that has been no more true than now. And when we move into this instructional model that is called distance learning, we really have leaned into and valued the value of our teachers teaching and students being engaged in their learning. When we transitioned to what I would call more of an emergency teaching, reactive teaching last year, we leaned on our teachers heavily to build connections with our kids, to make sure that our kids did not feel isolated, did not feel disconnected. When we move into this one, this is much more purposeful. We have programs in place to make sure that your students are learning grade level standards, that they're still connected to their peers, but that they remain engaged in learning. And the learning environment that we've set up is purposeful so that we can start transitioning back to on-campus learning. Because as much as we feel we do a good job in this distance environment, it pales in comparison to the real thing. And that is our goal, and we'll get to that in just a moment. We also focus on outcomes. The last time that state testing was performed, we performed as one of the top performing districts in all of San Diego County. We performed in a way that we scored greens and blues, which are the 2 highest marks in all the major categories. And we're one of only 5 districts out of over 40 districts in the county, only one of 5 to do that in all major categories. And we're really proud of that. And that's a reflection of the hard work that our students do and the quality instruction that comes from our teachers. But we're not just about academics and academic outcomes. We're about experiences. And we're really proud of the programs that we've been able to put on, especially the relationship we have with the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. And even though we're in this virtual environment, we have maintained that partnership. You can expect that relationship to continue, those experiences to continue. And once the park and our school get to open up again, we will get back to doing that in the real world. The other thing that's really important for us is the connections that we make. Our students start here. Some of them start as young as preschool or TK, most starting kindergarten and go all the way through the 8th grade. And that gives them the opportunity to bond with one another bond with teaching staff, bond with support staff here at the school, and really makes for a family atmosphere. I pulled this picture out from a couple years ago. This was when my daughter graduated from high school, and we started a thing called the Senior Walk. And the Senior Walk is an experience where individuals who attended San Pasqual Union here, many of them for 9 or 10 years, when they're graduating high school, they come back and we have a big parade for them, and they meet with our 8th graders. They give them the wisdom that they wish they had moving out, but they also talk about what San Pasqual Union meant to them and what it built in them that has allowed them to be successful. And they talk about their next steps in life, the careers that they're going into, the aspirations that they have. Very few schools have high school seniors that would like to come back to their elementary school to meet with their teachers and to meet with their classmates and to impart their wisdom on the next group. We're really proud of that. And we're really proud of that. While kids are here, there's a mentoring philosophy from our older kids to our younger, and they understand how it feels to be that kid. And they also value the experience that they have. And so it's a special place. And so I'm glad that you're here with us. And for those of you who have been here for a while, you probably understand that already. We very much focus on school as a community and get active involvement with our parent community. Mrs. Lee will talk to you guys about the ways that that can happen. It's limited right now. When school is closed, a lot of these fun things that we do on campus are shut down. But we are looking forward to getting kids back on campus, getting events back on campus, and really embracing some of the things that we really love and that make San Pasqual a special place. The big question that everybody has right now is this transition back to on-campus learning. For those of you who've been following this closely, back in July, Governor Newsom pretty much said, anybody who's on the state's watch list, schools are shut down indefinitely. Until you get off the watch list, until there's a waiting period after the watch list. San Diego County and most of the rest of the state was on that watch list at the time. And we were on that watch list because of the high rates of coronavirus cases. Fortunately, since that time, the county has been removed from the watch list. And we're about a week into a waiting period, per se, to get off the watch list. And if we get into next week, Tuesday to be exact, San Diego County gets removed from the watch list, which allows schools to start offering in-person instruction. And what you'll see from a lot of schools in our area is most are going to stay virtual. Our goal is to start serving students at the earliest opportunity. But we're not going to do that at the risk of people's health. And so our current plan is we're looking at the earliest opportunity, which we think is going to be middle of next week, is to start bringing back our kids that receive services through an IEP, our students with disabilities, our students that are English learners, students that are foster youth, those that have been disproportionately affected by these shutdowns. The shutdowns have been terrible for everyone, but students who have a disability or lack home support or don't have the adequate technology have been hurt a little bit worse. And so we're going to start phasing people in, starting with those most at risk and most at need, making sure that our safety protocols are all top notch, and then start gradually bringing folks in after that. So we'll have a more detailed plan for you guys that's coming out next week, but expect a phased in approach and not to open the door and everybody pour through. What we've learned is that schools that have done that, both in this country and others, have shut down very quickly because they didn't have adequate protocols and safety in place. And so our goal is to open safely and stay open and to continue to maintain that local control over those decisions. To that end, we had created a safe return to school plan. It is on our website currently. We continue to update it. It was just updated about a week ago. And really what that covers is the things that we do to make sure that kids stay safe. It focuses primarily on 4 main things. And those 4 things are screening, so that all adults and all kids coming through the door will have a health survey and a temperature check. The temperature check on kids is above the current recommended standards, but we feel it's important to see if kids are symptomatic and whether they can come to school or not. We've also created a learning continuity and attendance plan, and that's really talking about how are we serving the needs of kids and how are we addressing the learning loss that's likely to occur, and what's our plan for transitioning in. For those of you who have engaged in our distance learning program, I'm fairly confident that you will notice the differences from last year to this, and that it's much more structured and much more organized, much more tools at teachers' disposal, easier for students and parents to get into these systems and to follow them. They're also easier for us to transition between one form of learning to another. And so that's in our learning continuity plan. We had applied for the elementary school waiver. That was another option to get schools open. We applied for the waiver and we found out on Tuesday that the state is not processing those waivers, which was not great news to us, but we were very happy that the reason they were not processing them is because the health conditions were improving so much that they anticipate all schools having the ability to open as early as next week. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that the health conditions continue to stay and move in the right direction so that we do have that ability to bring kids back. As I mentioned before, looking at a staggered return, slowly bringing kids back to school, starting with highest needs. And most likely our next phase, at least in our current plan, is our youngest kids. Our distance learning in TK and kindergarten is a whole lot less effective than you can do in a 7th or 8th grade. So we are looking to get those kids back into school on the front end of our return. And then we talked about the new normal, and people kind of say, okay, when you're coming back to school, what are you making these decisions on? And first and foremost, we're relying on the health experts. There's a lot of information out there about different studies and different sciences, but we are in constant communication with local health officials, and we get guidance from them on, is it safe to open and under what conditions? One of the benefits that we have of being a small school and a small school district is we make the decisions that are best for us right here. And some larger districts, they don't have the flexibility or the maneuverability to make decisions that are best for their kids on the local level. And so we follow the health experts primarily, but we also look at the balance between the health experts' recommendations and the needs of our kids. We understand that this isn't an isolated situation and that when kids are not in school, they're being harmed academically, despite the best distance learning program we can put out. They're harmed socially and emotionally by not having the connections that would be inherent in their school experience. And I'm really pleased this year that we've been able to hire 2 new experts to our team that will be working with your kids before and when they come back to campus on working on these academic and social and emotional needs. And so I wanted to introduce to you a new person on our team. She's the director of our special education department, as well as our new school psychologist. Mrs. Hernandez, are you on the phone with us? I mean, on the call with us tonight?
I am.
Yes,
Hello, everybody. It's so great to be here. I'm so happy to be part of San Pasqual Union, and I see why it's a special school. Not only is it a beautiful campus, but everybody has been so welcoming and warm, and it's just truly a really special place to be. And I can't wait till all of your children can safely return and I can meet all of your kiddos. And if you need anything at all, I'm here for all of your social, emotional, your counseling, anything that you may need. I'm there Monday through Friday. I just can't wait for all you guys to be there too. So nice to meet you all, and I look forward to meeting you.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. And then we also have Ms. Amezcua. Are you with us on the Zoom today?
I am.
Yes. And so Ms. Amezcua, she is overseeing our, she's our specialist for our preschool through 5th grade. So if you have a child that's receiving services through an IEP or needs some additional supports, she is here. So could you introduce yourself a little bit?
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Miss Amezcua, and I am the elementary educational specialist for preschool through 5th grade. I am very excited to be working with the students on my caseload, as well as any other students that just need support and just need an extra hand to help them academically and, of course, socially and emotionally as well. Buenas tardes a todos, yo soy maestra Amezcua y yo soy la nueva educación especialista de los grados de primaria. So I look forward to meeting all of you.
All right, thank you so much. We were super pleased to bring them onto the team because these ladies bring both the heart and the smart. And so we were super pleased to bring them on. And this is a time we're going to need both of them. So thank you for joining the team. Thank you for joining us tonight. The other thing that we're taking into account when we're looking at our school reopening is the needs of our parents and our staff. We know how burdensome, as a parent myself, know how burdensome this kids not coming to school is. How negatively it affects the family, people's ability to go get jobs and work, and the strain it puts on families and relationships. And so we very much look at that as a factor in reopening schools. And then we want to make sure that we're keeping in mind the health and the welfare of our staff. So it's a very complicated equation, but we feel that we've got a good plan moving forward to gradually get kids back into school and get back to the old normal as quickly as possible. But in the meantime, we are in our virtual learning environment, our distance learning environment. Mrs. Lee is going to tell you about that. It is not an emergency teaching environment. This is school, and it has the same academic expectations that regular school would have. And Mrs. Lee is going to tell you a little bit about the accountability with flexibility model that we've established.
It sounds like you're just going to keep on going, Mr. Burrows.
I could. So you don't need it.
Well, while we are still in distance learning, I'm sure you've noticed that it's a much more robust learning experience and teaching experience than we had at the end of last year. And we do expect students to participate, and we want to hold them accountable. And for the reasons that Mr. Burrows mentioned, we understand that there might be a need for flexibility. So communicate with your teachers if you're having difficulty with the Zooms and what kind of needs can be met. I know that some families have worked with others to help each other out in this experience, and anything you can do to support your community and support the kids will get us through these next few weeks while we're waiting to return to campus. So attendance does count. Do participate in those Zooms, and reach out to your teacher if you're having that difficulty. Middle school has created an expectations worksheet for us that's Zoom related, and there it is. We do expect students to be on the Zoom on time, show their camera, mute themselves when they're not talking. And your teacher will work with you. Once again, if you need some considerations in this manner, but we've had our teachers reaching out. We've been reaching out in the office. We were fielding a lot of phone calls initially, helping people get onto the first Zooms, helping people get into the Google Classrooms. Don't hesitate to call. Sometimes your teacher is in the middle of teaching, and we can help you or your child get on. I think we pretty much have it ironed out at this point, and now teachers that are reaching out to the occasional parent whose student is not participating, or thinking maybe something's wrong with the internet, and the parents are telling us that nothing's wrong with the internet and that student needs to be participating. So thank you for being a partner with us in that, and we'll keep plugging away at it. Just keep talking with us. Next slide, please. All right, so we have a new day for distribution, which includes library. Library was in the past on a different day. We've moved it to Friday. Friday is our new minimum day, so all instruction will end by lunchtime. It's our new Thursday for those of you who were here in the past. And we will have a drive-through line at school between 12 and 3. If your teacher is distributing any materials, they will let you know, and we will have very organized stations at the front of the office to hand you any packets or anything the teacher is passing out. If you have packets ready to turn in, that would be a time to turn it in as well. We have a new library checkout system. Miss Carol made a video for it. Hopefully the teachers have shared it with you. But you and your students can log into Alexandria and check out books rather than emailing her directly. And we'll have those books ready for you on Fridays as well. Of course, if you have anything that you need to get to and from the office, Friday between 12 and 3 is the time to do it. And during these times, we want to make sure that you stay connected. You should have received a few communications from us this week. We usually don't send out this much, but there is a lot going on this time of year. And we're showing that we have good success rate. I just sent a required annual notification today, and 91% of the email addresses we have are correct and deliverable. So if you're part of that 9% that did not get my email, reach out to us. We'll fix your email address or help you get a Gmail address so that you can get that communication. Monday, Mr. Burrows sent out a phone message, 1 minute and 17 seconds long, according to my voicemail. And then on Tuesday, we sent out a text message. So if you're getting all that communication, that's good. And I assure you, we will not normally be sending this much. It's important to stay connected in the event of an emergency. So it's hard to think about now when we're just eager to get back to school and all we could think about is our current situation. But this is a dry area, and Northern California is experiencing fires right now. And there are times where there might be a fire in the area, and we will communicate with you through those modes, email, phone, and text. So make sure you're getting that. Sometimes there might be a power outage or whatnot. So in the event of an emergency, that's how we'll be reaching out to you. We do have 2 learning management systems that our teachers are sticking with, and they received extensive training before school started. Everyone was experimenting with those systems last year. They should be pretty close to experts at this point. So Seesaw for the lower grades and Google Classroom for 2nd grade and up. And of course, you can access Parent View grades anytime. That's on the Synergy. It's the same system that you use to register. And then we have all of the social media up on the left. Some are updated more than others. But there's a lot of ways to get involved in campus. And as we start bringing the students back onto the campus, eventually, we'll start with essential volunteers. I know that Miss Carol and Miss Tyler are heading up Everyone a Reader, and they're planning on doing it virtually until we could get the kids on campus. So if you're a past reader for us, please reach out to them. And as we bring the kids on campus, we'll slowly start bringing volunteers on campus too, but we're going to keep it limited initially. We do need school site council volunteers. This is a group that is an advisory board. It's a very small group that includes parents and teachers and administrators. And we go through a lot of documents that we present to the board, and you have an opportunity to give us feedback on that before we present them to the board. So if that's your cup of tea, reach out to us. I think we have a couple spots open. PTO is selling spiritware, and they have an upcoming virtual book fair. We have our DLAC committee meeting next week. Red Barn Arts, working on getting it started. Sage Garden. These are all active parent organizations that once everybody's back on campus will be up and running strong. So great opportunities for you to join. We have Courtney Bell from the San Pasqual School Foundation, who's going to tell you more about what they're doing this year. So Courtney, are you on here? Sometimes it's hard to find that mute button.
Yeah, thank you, Mrs. Lee. I appreciate that. I'm Courtney Bell, the newly elected president of the San Pasqual School Foundation. For those of you who are not aware, the San Pasqual School Foundation has been really hard at work this summer, navigating these ever-changing times for our students. We continue to be committed to the educational excellence for all the students here at San Pasqual Union. But as you all know, this year has brought many, many challenges. Flat per pupil funding, and coupled with the state and federal budget uncertainties, has really negatively impacted many programs here at SPU. You may not know that we've had a decline of 81 students over the past 2 years, and that actually brings a revenue loss of nearly $700,000 annually, which is the school's about 10% of their operating budget. So our goal this year is to support the school's enrichment opportunities by raising funds to bridge this enormous gap. And thanks to many of you over the past few years, 2019 was actually our biggest fundraising year, where we raised $90,000 through family donations, corporate match funds, corporate sponsorships, and event revenue. And those donations have been put to use, ensuring the continuity of educational programs and technology during these incredibly unprecedented times. Last spring, we were looking forward to throwing our Totally 80s event with you, but that obviously didn't happen. So this year, wanting to ensure the safety of our families, we are very excited to host our Totally 80s virtual fundraising event. So if you're like me and you love a good theme party, you still have the chance to dress up and enjoy fantastic silent auction items to bid online. We're gonna have an interactive 80s trivia contest with prizes. And get your whole family involved by dressing up in your best 80s apparel for our 80s costume contest, which everyone online is gonna get to vote on. Write this down on your Trapper Keeper if you'd like. It's going to be October 11th at 6 p.m. You can get pre-registered for free at spufoundation.com/events. If you can, please follow us on Instagram at SPU Foundation. That's where we upload all our foundation event updates. It's also where you could send us your Totally 80s awesome pictures and hashtag SPU Totally 80s so that you can be on our big LED event wall during the event. And if you happen to be one of those room moms or an art mom last year that has an auction basket that you didn't get to turn in, or a class art project that is finished, if you could turn it in to the drive-through this Friday from 12 to 3, let Pamela Hansen know. She'll make sure we get that for our online event. In addition, our annual Green Envelope campaign has gone online as well. So please feel free to go to our website, spufoundation.com, and take the opportunity to share the campaign with your family and friends who want to help support our students and the vital programs here at SPU. More than ever, we really do need your help. Please consider partnering with us in the following ways. Join us for our free Totally 80s virtual fundraising event. Consider making a donation through our website for our virtual Green Envelope. If you own a business, we would love to feature you as one of our corporate sponsors. If your company does a donation match program, please consider SPU Foundation. And if you don't know if they do, could you ask? We are a 501c3, so all of your donations are in fact tax deductible. We are always looking for great volunteers to join our board who have excellent time and talent to give back to our school. It does take each of us to make a difference for all of us. And we do hope you join us in making a difference this year for the students at SPU. We can't wait to see you back on campus again soon. Thanks.
All right, thank you so much, Courtney. I'm glad you could join us. During this pandemic, it has taken the wind out of a lot of people's sails, but not our foundation. Our foundation has actually stepped up, grown stronger and more determined. We went through the decisions on whether to host an event in the spring, and decisions were made for us in that regard, but they are very much undeterred, and they continue to meet regularly with a singular focus of how do we best serve the needs of the kids. And when we shut down and we didn't have enough computers to hand out for home learning, they stepped up and bought 100 computers. And when we started to bring our staff back and we started talking about how to keep them safe, they bought gallons and gallons of hand sanitizer. The foundation is so responsive to the needs of our staff and students that it's something that you really want to consider donating to. The other thing that's nice about it is once they get to throw their events, they're really a lot of fun. And when you can combine doing a good deed and having a good time, it's all right in my book. So thank you, Courtney, and the foundation for all that you're doing. Thank you, parents, for joining us tonight. This, I know, isn't the reason you came. You're going to go meet with your teachers now. If any of you have any trouble logging in or getting connected, feel free to reach out to either me or Mrs. Lee or Mrs. Hansen. Email us and we will get you connected to the classroom of your child. But I think your teachers have done a fabulous job in communicating. So I think you're well on your way. Thank you for joining us tonight. Be safe. Look for some messages coming out on school reopening very soon. So thank you for joining us. Have a great night.